Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, here with another learning experience for all of us about private property, American history, freedom of association, and so-called discrimination. It's a story that comes out of Minnesota, and it's about two Christian videographers who are now having to fight the state for their right to be able to decline service to gay couples that want them to film their weddings. You think you might have heard a story along these lines before? Well, we'll investigate and find out. Greetings everyone, and all I have to ask is, how long will this go on? I mean, first we saw the Hobby Lobby case.
The contraceptive exemption only applies to so-called closely held corporations who are only under the control of a few people.
Where the folks behind Hobby Lobby had to fight in the U.S. Supreme Court for being able to exercise their right to not comply with the Obamacare mandate that they must provide health insurance that covered things like contraceptives and abortifacients. They won in the Supreme Court. Then, after Hobby Lobby, we saw the case of the Colorado Masterpiece Cake Shop having to fight in the Supreme Court to decline service to a gay couple that wanted the cake shop to make a cake for a same-sex wedding.
And I love my work because a cake is a canvas on which I express ideas, celebrate events, and bring joy to people's lives. It was shocking to me that the government would try to take away my freedoms and forced me to create something that went against my faith.
And they also won. Now we have another case coming out of Minnesota.
A couple from St. Cloud that owns a Christian-based video production company says they shouldn't be forced to provide services to same-sex couples. They
are Carl and Angel Larson, and they run a videography service. They do Christian videos, and they also shoot weddings. And in 2016, they realized that they might be running afoul of a Minnesota law.
And every story we tell magnifies Jesus like a telescope. Hence the name of our business, Telescope Media Group.
The Larsons sued, saying Minnesota law would violate their First Amendment rights by requiring them to film wedding ceremonies for all couples. And they'd hoped to post a statement on their website saying they refuse to create films celebrating same-sex marriages.
Okay, so the Larsons are now appealing to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals. And this case could, as the others, end up in the Supreme Court. Look, this is about private property and how the public accommodations portion of the 1964 Civil Rights Act turned what is private property into de jure by law public property. Public property is that which tax money supports. Private property doesn't take people's tax money to support it. It's supposed to be controlled by the people who own it. It's also about free association.
State officials say that if we've expressed stories consistent with our beliefs about marriage, they'll force us to tell stories about marriage that violate those beliefs, under threat of steep fines and even going to jail.
You know, the discrimination part of this can get many people very upset. I understand that. But if we flip it around, let's ask something.
How far can the government go when it comes to marriage? Can they force people to promote ideas about marriage that violate their beliefs? So this is a very important case.
If a place is open for business to the public, the government describes this as being a public entity, which it is not. It's not supported by tax money. If you are open on the dating market, does that mean that you have to date everyone who approaches you? We discriminate every day. It's part of human existence. It's how animals and human beings survive. You have to choose between two or more things. That's just what we do. Now, the fact that some people might discriminate in ways that we don't like, well, we don't have to associate with them.
No matter what you think about same-sex marriage or marriage, you should want the Larsons to win, because the freedom that we're talking about in this case is a freedom we all enjoy.
And once more, we have to go through this again. This might end up before the Supreme Court. The Larsons might have to waste all this time and all this money to fight through the court systems.
State officials say that if we've expressed stories consistent with our beliefs about marriage, they'll force us to tell stories about marriage that violate those beliefs.
Sorry to say for the Larsons they have to go through this, but thank you very much for being part of the learning experience. And maybe will be able to avoid things like this in the future by recognizing the mistake inherent in the '64 Civil Rights Act and the principles of free association and private business. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends about us. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.